Hey y'all, Zach McDonald, your real estate agent with Real Property Associates, and today we're going to talk about why your house is not selling. Quite honestly, there are a myriad of reasons that your house is not selling, and it's hard to usually pinpoint an exact reason, but I want to give you some ideas. I'm going to focus on the number one reason to begin with, and then we'll talk about some of the other reasons that your house might not be selling. Before we jump into the reasons that your house might not be selling, we are going to debunk a myth here really quickly. And the myth is that every house in a seller's market or a hot real estate market like Seattle, where I'm at, is going to sell quickly. The truth is that some houses always sell quickly, no matter what kind of a market it is. Of course, the price goes up and down a little bit based on the market conditions, but some houses always sell quickly, and those houses are the same houses that everybody's interested all the time. And it might be the neighborhood, it might be the features in the house, whatever it is about that house, it's always going to sell quickly. Other houses will sell quicker in a seller's market than they would in a buyer's market. And if you're curious about the buyer's market, seller's market commentary and what the difference is, I made another video on that, and I'll link it up below where you can take a look at that. That does have an impact on how quickly a house sells. But certain houses will sell quicker in a seller's market versus a buyer's market. And then other houses always take a long time to sell. And again, long time is relative based on the market conditions. But there are some houses, maybe it's the location or the lot, maybe there's something about it that you can't change, and it's always a negative or even a substantial negative for buyers. And no matter what you do, that house is always going to take a little bit longer to sell. Now let's dive into the reasons that your house might not be selling. We're going to start off with, in my opinion, the number one overall biggest reason that your house might not be selling. And we could put this one in a category all by itself, in my opinion, and that is the price. The price is the number one reason that your house is not selling. When we look at price and we consider price, every house, any house, will sell if it's priced right. Or, I'll even put it a different way, every single house will sell for the right price. There's always a buyer. It just depends on the price. And there will always be somebody willing to overlook whatever the negatives are for the right price. Now, when we talk about price, most people are thinking, what's my house worth? What's the value of my house? And when we price a property, the first thing we do is we look at comparable sales. We look at what other homes are selling for on the market in that area. What are they selling for? How quickly are they selling? What are they priced at? Where are they ending up? In a seller's market, we see that some houses that are priced on the lower side end up getting multiple offers and the price gets bid up. But should we price it at the top of where they got bid up to, or should we price it down low like the other houses? Should we follow their example? So in my opinion, every house has a value range. An appraiser might tell you, a bank appraiser might tell you that a house is worth a specific dollar amount, and they'll do a lot of math and show a lot of calculations, but ultimately, a house is worth what a buyer and a seller are willing to agree on. And so what we come up with is a value range based on the recent comparable sales in the neighborhood, and we have a price conversation. Now, part of pricing is strategy. It's an art form. There's no exact science to price. Some people are more mathematical, some people are more artistic, some people are a little bit of a mix of both. But the truth of the matter is, price is not a mathematical thing. Price is an artistic thing, and it's a negotiation between the buyer and the seller. And so there are multiple things that go into deciding price strategy. I don't want to go into that too much, but what I found in a seller's market is when you price on the lower side of the value, you tend to get a quicker sale, and a lot of times will end up with more money than when you price at the higher side of the value, because your house is then competing with other houses that are better that are priced lower. And if you think about it, maybe that other house that's priced lower is going to end up selling for more, but when a buyer's looking online, they're comparing that really nice house to yours that might have a few drawbacks or things different about it that aren't as desirable. And when you're looking at the price, buyers are shopping by comparison, just like you do when you go buy a car or something else. Houses are the same way. So you want your house to stand out when those comparisons are made. And if there are drawbacks, you want those drawbacks to be offset by the price. Condition is another reason that your house might not be selling. When I meet with sellers before listing their house, we talk through different things that they can do to get their house ready for market. I have a standard list of suggestions, and I'd call those just very basic things. Getting the house ready for sale. And it can include fixing broken things, replacing light bulbs, we're talking about really basic things. It's not hard. Getting the house clean, all right? Doing some routine maintenance, painting, some touch-up paint. I don't ever think it makes sense to do a full remodel right before sale unless you're buying a house fix and flip or something like that. But a lot of times it's just doing that deferred maintenance so that somebody else can move into the house as it is, it's move-in ready. That's the standard that I always talk about with people. Now, you can make certain upgrades and get a return on your investment, maybe a small kitchen update or a minor bathroom update. Most remodel projects, if you hire somebody else to do them, actually return you negative money. It actually costs more to do the remodel project than you actually get back in return. So those are conversations that I have with people. But what condition is your house in? And some people refuse to do certain prep work and they just want to put their house on the market. And that's completely appropriate. Some houses, you just got to put them on. But at the same time, you have to consider that with the price, that there are going to be certain things people are expecting and you need to offset that with the price. The features are another reason your house might not be selling. If your house only has one bathroom, there are going to be certain people that don't want to buy your house because they need more than one bathroom or they want more than one bathroom. If your house doesn't have a garage, there are going to be certain people that don't want to buy your house. Maybe it doesn't even have any covered parking. Maybe it's just street parking or it's just parking in a designated spot. There are certain people, maybe they have nicer cars or maybe they just want the garage for storage space. They will not buy your house. They might not even come look at your house because it doesn't have a garage. Maybe the bedrooms are small in your house or somebody needs an ensuite bathroom. Those are certain things that if you don't have them, people aren't going to be interested in your house. What about lighting? Some houses are in the middle of a bunch of trees. They have dark lots. The house itself is just dark when you walk through it. No matter how much light you add artificially, it just feels dark in the house. And some people like that or don't mind it. Other people, it's a complete turnoff. So that would be something that would cause somebody maybe not to be interested. Additionally, some houses have things that you absolutely cannot change. Many of the things that I mentioned are things that you can change. They might be really expensive and not worth it, but you can change. But certain houses have things that you can't change. And the biggest things that you can't change, we'll talk about in a second. Now, let's talk about the lot, okay? The house itself sits in a specific location. And the lot that the house is on, the property, is something that a lot of times you can't change. Maybe there's a steep slope into the property. Or maybe there's a really steep slope out of the property, or the driveway is super steep into, maybe it does have a garage. If the backyard is really small, or maybe it's a terraced yard, or maybe it doesn't even really have a backyard at all. There are houses where it's more of a deck in the back and there's no backyard. There are certain people that need to have more of a backyard, and they need to have more space than others. So again, there are going to be certain things about that that you cannot change. If you back up to the woods and you have a deck and no backyard, you can't really change that. You're not going to be able to cut down all those trees, at least in most situations. So when you're looking at a house to purchase, you want to think about those things. You know, what are other people going to care about when they come to buy my house? Like if I was ever wanting to sell it. But at the same time, as the seller, you have to be willing to, if you get a discount, give that same discount back. Now, location is a little bit different than the lot. So there's this specific tax parcel that the house sits on. I'd consider that the lot, but the location is also a reason maybe your house isn't selling. Certain locations are more desirable than others, and that could include things like schools or proximity to really good parks or grocery stores or dining, good restaurants. Maybe the transit is close by. There are lots of different reasons, right, that a location's more popular. There are certain neighborhoods in a specific location that are more popular than others. When you put together the lot, the location, and the house all together, you get this combined effect. And so there are all these different reasons, and maybe one of them is stronger than the other, but you have this list of things that people are looking for and aren't looking for, positives and negatives. Now that we've talked about some of the most common reasons that your house is not selling, let's talk about the marketing. Now, the marketing really matters, and where it matters most right now is online. The first impression that people get about your house is not when they pull up to it in the driveway or drive by it based on the signs on the street. The first impression people get of your house is actually online. And buyers these days make a decision before they even come to your house whether they want to see it or not based on the photos. Are there photos? Are there good photos? Are they HDR photos? We always take HDR photography, and I don't take the photos myself. If you got out your iPhone right now, you could actually take an HDR image, but it's not good compared to what you get when you have professional photography. Does the house have a video? Is there a video tour? Or is it one of those tour factory tours? I've seen some video tours that are like a slideshow with pictures put together. I'm like, this is just a bunch of pictures with music. Do you have a video tour? Do you have a 3D walkthrough tour? Right now more than ever, and I think forever, it's going to be important that buyers can walk through your house with the video tour before they come and see it. Now, some of these things might decrease the amount of showings that you get. If a buyer can do a video tour and do a 3D tour, if they walk through the house and they don't like it, they're not going to come take a look at it. But what's better, to have people that are really motivated coming to look at your house, or people that have never seen it and don't really know what they're getting into? Do you want that person to come to your house? I don't. I don't want somebody coming to an open house right now, right? It's like, hey, take a look at the marketing. Do you like the house? Do you think this is a legitimate possibility? If it is, come take a look. If not, cross it off the list. So online, people are going through this process, and your house isn't going to appeal to everybody. It never will. You can't please everybody, especially with your house. A few other things with marketing. Is your house on the MLS? That's going to be the most common and the place you really need your house to be. Real estate agents have access to the MLS, and when we post the listing on the MLS or multiple listing service, your house is getting in front of all the agents who represent the buyers, but it's also syndicated out to all the real estate websites that people are searching on. Additionally, there are a few other sites maybe that don't have direct access to the MLS. You want to make sure that your house is on those popular sites in specific areas. So in Seattle, the two most common places by far that people are searching for homes are going to be Zillow and Redfin.com. So you want to make sure your house is on those websites. There are others, but if you were to prioritize which one, it's going to be on those sites. As well, you want your house to be on social media. Is your house on social media? Are advertisements being run? You never know. You never know what is going to cause somebody to be interested in your home, and you want to make sure that your agent is doing all of those different things to get your house marketed and sold. I'll throw one other thing here into the marketing piece, staging. I have this conversation with sellers before they list their house. Some people want to stage their home, some people don't. It is an additional expense. And staging, there's constant argument about the value and benefits of staging. I'll say I've had some clients that do like to see staged houses. It makes them feel like they can see themselves in it better. Other people have the exact opposite response. They'd rather see a house that isn't staged so they can imagine themselves in there without somebody else's furniture. So I think it goes both ways. It's also harder to tell in a seller's market, when the market's really hot, if the staging matters or the staging doesn't matter. Right? I've had houses that are staged that don't sell quickly. I've had some that are staged that sell really fast. I've had houses that aren't staged that sell really fast. So it's hard to pinpoint, does the staging actually help? I know it doesn't hurt, usually, hopefully not, but is it actually helping? And I think that's a question for you to discuss with your agent. Does staging make sense for my house? The final reason that we're going to talk about today that your house might not be selling is timing. Each year, there are certain times of the year where more buyers are in the market and more houses are on the market, and there are times of the year where there are less houses on the market, less buyer activity. And so in any given year, if you're typically putting your house on the market in the springtime, in early summer, you'd have the most amount of buyers that are looking, but you also have the most amount of houses. So it's a little bit of a catch-22, right? If you put your house on the market in the late summer or fall, you're typically going to have a little bit more selection for the amount of buyers that are out there. But this year, we're seeing a lot less. We are seeing a lot less homes on the market than we normally do, and we're still seeing a lot of buyer activity. But even with that, your house still might not be selling for a different reason. So it's not all about timing the market. It's a factor, but I'd say of all the factors, it's probably the least important factor. And as we wade through these different factors that we just discussed, I think ultimately that pricing is the most important factor to consider when you're thinking about why your house isn't selling. If you look at the condition of the house and you look at the location and the lot and you look at the marketing and you go through all these different things that we just talked about, you're like, yeah, check, 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 then it's time to adjust price. If there's something about the lot or the location that you can't change and the house isn't selling, maybe you need to drop the price. Right? Or maybe you don't want to do some of the work that needs to be done to get that price that you ultimately want to get. Something's got to give. Maybe it's the price. So this is a conversation to have with your real estate agent. If you're not working with a real estate agent, that's going to be another thing to add here. It would certainly help speed up the process in most markets to have a professional that's handling the sale and handling the marketing. And of course, if you're in the Seattle area and you don't have somebody to talk to and you want to ask these questions or you want to talk to somebody about selling your house, I'd love to be a resource for you.